Carrie, probably the best place to get started is, first of all, thank you very much for clearing the time from your schedule to be here this afternoon. If you would just give esteemed audience kind of an overview of your career and where you're at as of now.
Sure. So I am a literary agent at LDLA, as well as the audio rights director. I've been with the agency for about 2 years at this point, and before that, I was at Prospect Agency, and then before that, at Writer's House.
So what has, 3 different literary agencies so far, what has that experience taught you about different agencies, and how has each of those experiences kind of informed your role as a literary agent currently?
Well, the agencies that I've been at have been very different. So I'm sure that pretty much everyone listening to this knows what Writer's House is. It is a huge, wonderful, wonderful agency, but there are a lot of agents. So it does have a slightly more corporate feel to it. Prospect Agency, where I went afterwards, was based in New Jersey, and it was about 6 agents at the time. So it had a much more relaxed feel. It was also very autonomous because I, thankfully, was not going out to New Jersey every single day. So I was doing a lot of work from home. And now that I'm at Lauderdale, it's also a small agency, but it's in the city. We also share office space with Liza Dawson and Nancy Yost. So it has a much more collaborative feel. It's really nice to be able to be in the office surrounded by other agents all the time and to be able to ask questions and have a back and forth instead of, just talking to myself about ideas.
So they're not staring at you. What have you got going on? You're kind of trying to sneak peeks at them. There's no adversity there. Everybody's friends and trying to collaborate.
You would think, but we're all just like trying to plow through our own work.
So when did you decide that you wanted to be a literary agent?
Probably my sophomore summer of college, because that was when I actually interned at Writer's House. I'd been looking for an internship to do, and a friend had recommended I give this a shot. And I had no idea what a literary agent was before that. And I think that's probably true for most people. I think that in the publishing industry, editors are really the front-facing people. So I didn't really know what an agent was. I thought it was probably someone who just read all the time, and that was it, which was very appealing to me. But then when I interned at Writer's House, I just really fell in love, and I kind of knew that that was what I wanted to be going forward.
And were you always a passionate reader from a young age, or were you a reluctant reader that turned around at some point?
No, I've been a passionate reader. Mom is a first grade teacher, so I was taught to read early. And always
how early are we talking? I'm sorry, what age?
Oh no, always got lots of books for Christmas too.
Oh, perfect. They raised you right. So what were you passionate about when you first started reading, and how has that changed? What are you passionate about reading now?
So I don't think that it's really about what I am passionate about reading in terms of what's changed from start to now. I think it's more about what I've decided to look. So when I first started agenting, what I was passionate about was getting started, right? I really wanted to just start working with clients, start getting projects to send out. And so I was much more hands-on. I used to do line edits every single time someone sent me a revision of something. And I obviously, I don't have the time to do that anymore. So when I'm looking for projects now, I think rather than just trying to get as many things as I can and as many deals as I can, I'm looking for stuff that really just blows me away. So that often means sometimes when I'm looking at queries, I'll see projects that I think are great and that I could totally see being published and I think should be published. But because I'm not head over heels in love, it's not something that's the right match for me anymore.
Gotcha. So for all of those desperate writers listening who want to reach out to you, want to get in touch, what's the sort of project that you're likely to fall head over heels in love with?
Maybe probably a really good answer, but it's not so much a genre or a topic or a premise so much as just something that I haven't really seen before, and with really fantastic voicey writing and great characters. Sometimes I think that that's also probably what everyone says, so which is why it's a little annoying because everybody wants great voice and great characters. But I'm also willing to be surprised in genres that I don't necessarily think that I like. So in the past, I've always said that I'm not a huge epic sci-fi person. But I read something a couple years ago that I ended up finding where the voice just blew me away. It was just so fantastic. I felt like I was living in that world. I hadn't really read anything like it before, and so I made the exception. And that's kind of my standard now, as opposed to specific genres, if that makes sense.
Is that a book that's available where we can go get it yet, or is it still in development somewhere?
It is still in development, actually getting out sometime.
Gotcha. So as soon as it becomes available, come back, tell us what it is so we can all read it and fall in love as well. Well, I've been stalking your manuscript wish list just a little bit, and I'm sure that anybody that's listening to this, just by virtue of the fact that they listen to this podcast, already head and shoulders above the other folks that are writing queries, so that they know to check you out, check out your interests, make sure that they're going to be bringing you something that would be of interest to you, and so they'll be doing the same thing. But I did see that you're, for one, looking for nonfiction only for picture books right now. Is that still true?
That is correct.
So why nonfiction only?
It's because I don't really have a lot of experience in picture books. There are some agents that do a lot of it, and actually, Teresa Kaitlinski is one of them. She used to be at Prospect, and I would always see her samples that she would send out to editors, and just look at her list and think that her picture books were so adorable. But I had no idea what I would do if I would edit one, because there's 5 words per page, and if it's a fiction picture book and it is elephant woke up and went to school, I would have no suggestions for that. I also I'm not the best at editing artwork because I don't really work with illustrators on a regular basis. So with nonfiction, there are sort of standards that are much easier to see. Is it telling the story adequately? Is it giving off, or is it sharing X, Y, and Z facts? Is it in the right age range? So it's easier for me to gauge nonfiction picture books than it is fiction.
Not just because you can go through and say, okay, accurate, 100% for certain these facts add up.
Well, and also the format too. Like when you're thinking about a nonfiction picture book, whatever it's about, if it's about a biography or a certain kind of science or what have you, you kind of know what you're expecting in terms of storytelling. Whereas with fiction picture books, it's kind of the wide range. I'm just less comfortable in it. Hopefully, I will someday be a little bit more comfortable. I'm trying to push myself, maybe for this year or next year. But at the moment, it's still nonfiction.
So what I just heard unofficially is if there is somebody listening that has an amazing fiction picture book, that maybe they could be the one that, no, that's a terrible bit of advice. Don't listen to me, esteemed audience. Stick with the manuscript wish list.